Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to talk about my custom Dr. Stretch and Pulls Torture Factory. This piece I recently bought off eBay in non-working condition, and I was able to refurbish it to working order as it would have been originally, and then I also added on custom lights to kind of modernize it and bring it up to the modern day. The main issue I found with this building is actually the fact it didn't have any exterior lights to really show off the building's features in the dark. Because most modern Lemax pieces nowadays have lighting on the outside so that you could see like the guillotine or even just the windows of the signs here. So these lights here are new, and then this one here is new. Right there shining on the guillotine, and in person it looks great. I didn't add any lights on the sides, but I didn't really think it was necessary because there's not much to see and you already have the eerie red glow from the LEDs there. And I thought inside the windows was light enough because in person the window scenes look fine. But then the main thing I did was the neon. It actually has 4 different patterns that I custom wrote for an Arduino Nano. So this piece now has a small Arduino Nano crammed in right behind there. And I can actually update the program for this sign if I want to, because this piece actually has just a screw cover on the bottom. So if I ever want to change the neon, I can. And the Arduino is actually being powered from the adapter. If I unplug the piece, you'll see the whole thing goes dark, and then the neon starts right back up again when it gets power. It's running a minute loop, so it has a minute's worth of animations that it'll cycle through. The first one that you see is this green with violet. So the green is going, and then here we have dark orange, and it's an alternating pattern. It looks really nice, and it's fading back and forth. And then here we have violet and dark orange in a stepping pattern. And then the last pattern you'll see is green on the torture, and then the outside flashes. So that way you actually have a bit of versatility here of what the sign is doing. Originally this piece just had a very dim yellow LED for the torture part, and then it just had this really ugly strobing LED for the top, kind of. A major flaw I noticed with this building is they trimmed the fiber optics too short for the bottom. So the bottom never really lit up as well as the top did, and that seems to be a common issue because if you look at most of these, the bottom is dimmer than the top. And so I fixed that now, and I also added a NeoPixel up behind the sign, which you can't really see, which is nice, but now you can actually read the sign, because before, like you can see right here, you can't really see the rest of the words. So now with the other NeoPixel behind the sign, you can actually read what the sign says. And I chose colors that go pretty well with the building. So green and purple go really well because it already had the purple light there, and the skull eyes light up green. And the sign was originally orange-yellow, so that's why I put in a few nods to that with this. And then I added the orange light for the guillotine, and the inner windows actually have yellowy, so that went pretty well. And it really has some nice Halloween colors with the sign that I chose. I'm going to try and post a link in the description to a Google Doc file, which will have the entire Arduino program that I wrote. This program primarily uses a waveform that's charted out to the neopixels, and then when it gets to different timestamps, it'll change the pattern. And so if anybody knows Arduino programming, you can just go ahead and look at the program and tweak it if you need. Also, if anybody has questions about programming different colors or slightly different patterns, I'm happy to help. I used an Arduino Nano, and then pin 12 is what I have as the NeoPixel data pin. And really there's not much else to the program. If you have an Arduino Nano and you just go ahead and copy and paste the program that I wrote, it should fire right up with, these are WS2812B NeoPixels. And again, so I'm happy to help if anybody has questions. But you will need to get inside of the building, which is the main trick with this. Because you'll need to open up the bottom, and then this guy here on the rotating wheel, depending on the building. This is an original 2004, so it has the working guillotine, but there was a later revision of the building that has a non-functioning guillotine that's just stationary, and it featured screws behind the guards here. And there's another channel called Random Junk Channel that already has done a very good video showing how to take apart one of that type of building. For this one though, that guy there on the wheel is just glued in. So if you take apart the bottom and just sort of carefully pry that off, that's how I got in. Because it's not actually secured with screws on this model. And then lastly, I'll just go ahead and show with the sounds. It's about to restart the loop, so I'll just let it play out.
Welcome to Dr. Stretch's Torture Factory, where we love to help with twist shape. Come see our new cutting-edge strategy. It's most definitely ahead of its time. And are you stressed from being chained to that 9-to-5 job? Then get our complete deep tissue body massage to get the kinks out. We've found that the best way to beat the daily grind is with a little grind and unwind. And to help bring a broken smile to your face, we even have an uncertified dentist on staff. Do you find that shocking? Don't be shy. Come in. Welcome to Dr. Stretch's.
So that pretty much concludes my video. If anybody has any questions troubleshooting this piece or trying to do anything with it, just let me know. I'm happy to help get people's Lemax buildings all working. But yeah, the NeoPixel upgrade is just 1,000 times better than the original sign. And now this building can definitely stand out even among some of the more modern Lemax pieces, because it's very stunning now with the neon sign and the added lights here on the outside. And you can really see the gears and everything, so it looks very ominous, and it's definitely able to stand out. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know.